YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
The vaccine that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. The vaccine that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Sabotage is the word of our lifetime. Not the word of the year, the word of our lifetime, because we are seeing a government of both Republicans and Democrats deliberately sabotage our way of life as they bring in global communism. By our way of life, I mean everything that was once normal, like owning private property, will no longer be, because that's what global communism is. And that's why it's so important for liberals and conservatives to realize that they're being played. Because as long as we're divided by these puppets, these actors in Congress, they will continue to destroy, and then, of course, blame the other political party. Now, the clip you just heard is Joe Biden talking at the State of the Union address and mentioning that the COVID vaccines apparently also cure cancer. They don't cure COVID-19. That's what they've told us, at least, right? And we certainly know for a fact what they really do. But now we're even hearing things like this where people are just scratching their heads going, are these people really saying some of the things that they're saying? Yes, they are. And the point is that you shouldn't be believing what they're saying, and you shouldn't be thinking it's the things the media wants you to think, like dementia. You should be thinking the word sabotage. So if we're going to start by talking about how the COVID vaccines don't actually cure COVID, yet they're convincing people to go and get it over and over and over again, but it does cure cancer, right? Then maybe we should start questioning our own sanity. And speaking of questioning our own sanity, over on the website at callforuprising.com, I have a new video up about a man who got 217 COVID shots, apparently, and lived to tell about it. Not only lived to tell about it, but had no negative effect on his immune system. And apparently he's living a wonderful life at this point after getting 217. Now, don't ask me how you can get 217 shots legally. That's like a shot a week over a couple-year period. But we all know, obviously, nobody would live to see the day. And the whole point of the story, I go into detail on the website at callforuprising.com about what it is really about. And again, they are putting thoughts into people's minds. Anybody out there that might be having doubts about what they did to themselves or seeing any side effects of it, that, hey, this guy's got 217 and has no side effects. And people are actually believing it because they believe any propaganda they see, which is why it's so hard to wake people up from what's going on. So that's over on the website at callforuprising.com. And I want to remind everybody now, before I get into the details of this video about the State of the Union address, my other channel, Nations Conspire, is close to being ready. If you like my content and you want to see my content, that's where I'll be uploading new daily videos going forward. It's linked below for the time period right now. It is linked underneath the video. So take the time now, pause the video, make sure you subscribe to that other channel. You don't want to miss out on my future content. There's a lot of things I'm going to be breaking down, including the same stuff I've done over the years with the music business, all the signs and symbols that we see, the movies and the agendas behind it, the predictive programming, but also a lot of the stuff with this fake political battle that's going on, a lot of the false flags that they have planned setting up over the summer, of course, the power grid that they're going to shut off. There's a lot of issues going on right now. Everybody needs to be prepared. And the first way to be prepared, in addition to being prepared with food and water, is to be mentally prepared. So you don't fall and get duped into what they're going to do to you and how they're going to convince you that it's really something that it's not when it all goes down. The boogeymen are in place, Russia, China, etc. It's your own government. And there are things that you're going to need to do mentally to be able to prepare for this. So make sure you subscribe to my other channel now, Nations Conspire. So in addition to Biden spewing that stuff about the magic potion, what we need to look at is some of these actors out there. Of course, in the history of ever seeing a State of the Union address, we've never seen ones like this. I mean, it looks like something right out of a high school. But we're now in a current climate in society with social media, etc., that people are so dumbed down that they think that these things that the political leaders are doing are just because they're unhinged, etc. They're baiting you. They're playing into you. And of course, this is acting 101. So we start with Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Marjorie Taylor Greene not only dressed up, I mean, you couldn't make it up, the way she's dressed, sitting here at a State of the Union address. You even see Joe Biden laughing when he sees her in the crowd as he comes down the aisleway, because of course he knows it's part of the show and it's funny, you know? And she's standing there and she starts screaming to him because apparently this is how we do Congress now, okay? We don't change anything. We don't advance anything. We don't make, things that need to be done in Congress don't get done. We just gaslight you. That's what Congress is now. They go and tell you that men can have babies. They literally sit there and address these ridiculous issues. They tell you that our government currently is spying on us. They tell us that our government currently is allowing spy balloons to fly over our country, that our government currently is making financial deals with other countries who do not have our best interests in mind, like China. Yet nothing happens, right? These are all things that would get anybody thrown in prison for treason. It would have all these people removed from Congress. But the problem is, as long as you stay in the left and right, you stay affiliated to your party. And as we move towards global communism, which is what it is, it's going to have two different looks in America. There's going to be conservative communism and liberal communism. And people who are in conservative communism with Trump are going to think that they're free, and they're not. Okay? They're not. And all of these things with free speech and all of the stuff with the vaccines that got rolled out, all were under Trump's watch. Because Trump went into power after the pizza and the gate thing went on. And that's when censorship began in 2016, 2017. Okay, so it started under his watch. I can attest to that from having many, many channels removed under his watch. And then, of course, we saw Operation Warp Speed, which, again, these people have short-term memory when it comes to things that are convenient to them. So they automatically are like, oh, I don't know. They changed out the vaccine. It was good in the beginning, right? These people just are so obsessed with their political leaders. They're their new Arnold Schwarzeneggers, their new heroes that they look up to and admire. And they want that because instead of an actual revolution occurring where the citizens say, hey, we're all putting our foot down. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. These people are clowns. These people are not working for us. These people are every single day are making us angry at each other instead of accomplishing things while we're footing the bill with our tax money. We're going to shut down the government. We're going to have an election where we can count every single vote. And you don't have to be a billionaire to be on the ballot. You could be a regular guy up the road who might just be a really great guy that everybody wants to be president. Okay? This is the way that, all of this should naturally go. And they know that. So they keep you in the left-right divide, thinking that you're going to break free from the insanity that they're pushing on us by joining the Republican Party, right? And of course, those people are all compromised. So we'll start with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is one of the people who is talking about the national divorce, how we need a national divorce. They want a national divorce, okay? I get it, how you're feeling out there listening. You're probably you're probably like everybody else. You're stressed out. You're sick of it. You see these, absolute unhinged lunatics who want to censor free speech. I feel the same way. They're absolutely out of their minds. But this isn't the answer to it because the national divorce that Marjorie Taylor Greene wants is what the New World Order wants. They want us separated so that then we could be sitting ducks for what they really have planned for Christians/conservatives. So here's Taylor Greene. The big thing is this Laken Riley story. And again, one of the other things needs to be emphasized is I always talk about false flags and psyops, right? And the conservatives out there who you see posting and following the Daily Wire and all these fake, government-controlled outlets for alt-right media, they always call out these events like where we see, shootings take place. And they're like, that's, they made it up. Or a riot takes place. Oh, George Soros funded it, And they're right about those things in a sense, even though Soros is just the face of it. It's really your own government and the CIA doing it. But when it comes to other things, they think that it's real. So they look at the news and they're like, it's fake news. But then they believe other stories out there. And it shows you that they're completely under mind control too. The Laken Riley story is another story that they put out there. The mainstream media is the ones who gaslighted the story. Everybody's in an uproar about this story about a college girl who was murdered by a Mexican illegal who crossed the border and shouldn't have been here in the first place, right? Fits the narrative perfectly. Of course, this is another government control stage story. They put it out there. They get the conservatives in an uproar about the border. And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene showing up. And this is the speech that she gave before the actual State of the Union. Listen to this.
Tonight's the State of the Union, and the State of the Union is Laken Riley. America's been under attack because of Joe Biden's open border policies with over 10 million illegal aliens invading our country. There's 2 million gotaways, and among them, we know there are terrorists. America has a national security crisis because of Joe Biden. Joe must go, and I'm ready for the State of the Union.
So that's the speech that she gave, right? So she's showing up here with a shirt that says say her name. And of course, conveniently, the girl's name's Laken Riley. Conveniently, Biden doesn't even know the girl's name. He bumbles on the stage. He calls her Lincoln Riley, who is a football coach at the College of USC, college football. Okay, so this is how you gaslight an audience. You play a bumbling fool like the character in Hot Shots that Biden is playing, or any of these other bumbling fool characters who are the president in all these movies you've seen over the last 25 to 30 years. They are playing roles and they are working you. And the national divorce narrative is problem, reaction, solution. They're causing the problem, they're making you react to it, and they're saying the solution is a national divorce. It is not. The solution is that we all come out of this. We realize that the voting is completely rigged on both sides. It's not rigged for one versus the other. It's rigged totally. The people in power are all compromised globalists. None of them are Christian conservatives who are trying their best to help Christians out. And the other side, they don't care that you're gay. They don't care that they care about none of us, and they're showing that, right? What they're doing is gaslighting you so that you take all your energy out on the opposite political party, and they're making you so loyal to your party. The conservatives are loyal to the conservative party at a point we've never seen before. Same with the liberals. That is communism. The party goes above God. The party goes above everything else. And look what we see conservatives doing. They're putting all the things that they say and do in regards to Donald Trump and Jesus Christ. And they, in their own mind, they're like, I'm not comparing the two, but they're similar. They're both oppressed. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's communism. It's conservative communism. But listen to what happens here. This is a State of the Union again, right? Watch the facial expression of Mike Johnson in the back, another Jesuit in the background, planted agent. He's just shaking his head, making these facial. It's like a B-level movie. It truly is. While he's, can't even pronounce people's names. He's slipping on his words. And she's screaming out in the audience like we're in high school. These are our political leaders, supposedly, and people don't believe that they're actors. It's unbelievable. Look at this.
It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly.
Okay, so then on top of that, after the fact, this is another thing that they've been using to gaslight conservatives is the story about when Biden pulled us out of Afghanistan and military people died over there. They've been using that story specifically for the conservative military types that get all drawn into it. They don't, it doesn't mean that people didn't die. I'm not saying that, but they're gaslighting you with this story. So they planted a guy in the audience who might very well be the father, but they clearly told him to stand and scream at Biden during the speech to make a spectacle out of it. And again, this is part of the left-right divide. This is part of the staged political divide that they've created. Look at this, clearly staged father yelling at Biden in the middle of his speech.
All Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, right? Then we get into the Roe v. Wade. And I've talked about this. Roe v. Wade was the perfect thing to do more gaslighting. It works perfectly with the state divide. Because again, we can think about, well, what are they going to do to get conservatives to literally have no choice but to move away from liberals? Well, we see it in cities, right? But let's think outside of cities, right? Let's think outside of cities because a lot of people have left cities because they deliberately are trying to get them out. But think about in states like Pennsylvania, which are showing up as Democrat states. One of the things will be mandates on the magic potion, on the vaxes, okay? That'll force us out because we will not comply. And the states will say, you have to get it if you want to live in this state, work in this state, shop in this state, okay? The other thing to get liberals heard it, is going to be this Roe v. Wade stuff. That's why they chose it, to make it so that they go, I can't live with these conservatives. They're, we're talking about murdering children here, but they've been convinced it's about their body and their rights. Meanwhile, people like me don't even have the right to speak openly and freely on public platforms like this. So it's kind of crazy, but they're such advocates for murdering children that they think it has something to do with them. They're under really a deep hypnosis, obviously. And the Roe v. Wade thing has been brought to attention. They brought it back out and reversed it and done all this stuff as a means to make these people not want to live in conservative states. So it has the flip effect of the vaccine. On top of that, you're going to see, I've been warning about this for a period of time, not that it's a warning, but you're going to see them start to do stuff with gay rights in conservative states. Gay marriage is going to be another issue. Oh, now they're not allowed to get married in a conservative state. Oh, no. This is part of the herding mechanism. Again, it's like going to the zoo. It's like they're herding us like animals at a zoo. They're putting you in states they want to put you in. You're going to be sitting ducks for things like HAARP, for direct energy weapons, you name it. So they bring up, this is hilarious, he brings up Roe v. Wade, and then he scolds the Supreme Court justices who are all sitting in the front row, trying to hold back laughs. Of course, they don't have to be there, by the way. The Supreme Court justices do not have to be in attendance for this. So why would they actually show up when none of them support Biden, when they know that he's going to lace into the Roe v. Wade stuff? They show up, of course, because this is how you gaslight people. So they're sitting in the front row as he scolds them, and he says, when he's reelected in 2024, he's going to reverse Roe v. Wade. And it's funny when people hear that. They're like, okay, I'm going to support Biden. He's going to take care of this. Well, why wouldn't he take care of it right now? I mean, he's the president right now. Why hasn't he done anything about it? Oh, right. Because this is a show. It's a circus. It's a spectacle. It is a psychological operation, which means they're playing with your emotions. They're manipulating you into feeling one way versus the other. And all it's doing is causing division amongst civilians, not amongst all of these globalists in power. Listen to this.
History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child, but the Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the right to AVF. Guarantee it nationwide. Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more. Thank you. My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk if she didn't act. Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed. What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that. Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024. If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
So it's an utter joke. I mean, how do you look at that and not laugh? Those guys are sitting there with their hands folded. One guy's even doing the triangle of power, the Illuminati hand gesture. They're standing there while all the liberals are applauding behind them. And you know, it's utterly, it is so staged. It's incredible. They know how many eyeballs are on the State of the Union. It's one of the more watched shows, political shows that they put out there. So they have to go out of their way. They use their same characters. Marjorie Taylor Greene is always one. Matt Gaetz is another one. Lauren Boebert, right? Just like that story I covered about Boebert getting, fondled in a movie theater. This is all just a show. It's amazing, like I said earlier, about conservatives say, they're like, the news is fake. Don't watch CNN. They think that they're awake, right? These people just suddenly woke up in 2016 because of a lot of the stuff we were all exposing. And then they just went down the wrong hole. They started believing in the political party because the political party started feeding into conspiracy theories. So they think that they're awake and they're like, the news is fake. CNN is fake. But then when a story like Lincoln Riley comes out, they actually believe it and they get all in an uproar about it. They don't realize they're being gaslit with psyops as well. It's psyop, psyop, psyop. The ultimate goal that they want with this problem reaction solution is two separate countries. And people think I'm crazy. I've been talking about it for a long period of time. There's a movie coming out, Civil War, where they even have it mapped out, who's going to be where. Now, I'm not saying that that's what it's going to look like, but we could clearly see the thing with Texas and the border and how they're trying to break free from the federal government and the states are supporting it. This is all conditioning you for what's coming. Florida being pretty much announced as a safe haven for conservatives and people don't want to get vaccines. I mean, it's really, people don't want to be woke. People don't want gay curriculum. Come to Florida. They're baiting you. They're actors. You could look at the background of all these guys in the Republican Party, all these guys in the Democratic Party. They're all members of the same secret societies. They're all friends. They're all butt buddies. They're manipulating you into what they want you to do, which is not only be divided by states, but be so angry at one another that you're willing to do that. Instead of you rising up going, you know what? I'm a Democrat. Joe Biden is useless. He's pointless. I'm paying too much money for this. I don't even think he was really put in there. I don't think that Chuck Schumer or any of these guys were voted in by us. I think they just placed themselves in there. And then just even thinking of the whole, voting being rigged and then how they could just disprove that by saying, okay, well, let's just make it so that we count every vote and you have to manually go sign it. We could zoom in with a camera. They don't want you to have actual resolutions to the problems. Because they want to destroy the whole infrastructure. So they want to destroy the voting system. They want to destroy the Supreme Court. They want to destroy the Senate. That's what they're doing. Because it's going to be two separate countries with two sets of rules. Okay? So what should be happening is conservatives should be throwing in the towel saying, you know what? Trump's one of them. Censorship happened. All this stuff happened while he was in power. He's great on the microphone. I get why people lure it in, but they need to pull out of it before it's too late here. They should be looking at DeSantis. They should be looking at Abbott. These are all World Economic Forum stooges, Israel stooges. Then on the other side, the same people should be looking at those people and going, well, why is Biden saying he's going to fix Roe v. Wade after 2024? If we vote for him, he's already in power, right? And then they gaslight you with how you're not going to have to pay your debts off anymore. It's unbelievable. It's unreal. No, we shouldn't be living like this anymore. And the only solution would be to shut this government down, have our, we'll all still pay taxes to a new government, and have it function properly. Take care of our roads, take care of the infrastructure, things that are supposed to go towards tax money, not funneling money to Ukraine, which they're deliberately telling you because they want you to stop paying your tax, which is part of this stuff. So, I mean, it's such a deep psychological operation. The first step is removing yourself and realizing the government's fully compromised. Period. On both sides. Then start making amends with people who who are in the opposite political parties and realizing, hey, they're making us this way. They're doing this to us. These people need to be thrown out. America was working perfectly fine for a long period of time before these people came in, since Obama came in and started changing our laws, allowing communist influence in our country. And now, we have a full communist takeover, and it includes the conservatives. So this whole thing was completely staged. If you haven't subbed yet and you're still listening, sub to Nations Conspire now. I'm going to go into way more detail. A lot more content is going to be up over there. I do multiple videos a day. And if you're trying to wake up other people, that's the channel to be on. I'll be going into deep dives on everything that, everything. I mean, I go into all different topics. So you need to learn about the carbon footprint, what it really is. You need to learn about this stage political divide, about the upcoming civil war, which isn't a real war. It's just national divorce is what it really is. There's not going to be a war with guns versus they're going to divide people into states based on different rules in different states. And no one's going to want to live among each other anymore. And they're doing this deliberately. It's deliberate sabotage. It's problem, reaction, solution. The solution for them, national divorce. So subscribe to my other channel now if you haven't yet. I thank everybody for being here. It's linked below. And check out the website at callforanuprising.com. I highly recommend for $2.99 a month you join the website. You will not regret it. I promise you that. It is 10 cents a day. You will spend hours in the forum every day, seeing actual news, learning things that you want, that you need to learn about, talking about topics that are interested, that you're interested in, sharing stuff in the comment sections on places like this. It's dead now because they're censoring that. You all have seen it. You have all commented to me. They're removing my comments. They're removing my links. Yeah, they are. So over on the website, you could do that stuff. You can interact. You could share stuff you're seeing in your own town, in your own life, talk about things that you want to talk about. If you have your own channel, you could share that over there. So lots of great stuff for $3 a month, and included in all that is my uncensored content and my library of videos, which is in the thousands. So definitely get over there, callforanuprising.com if you haven't. But again, at the very least, sub to my backup channel now. I thank you for being here, everybody. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families, as always.